Hey folks, it's Nate. It's time for another Quickcast. Hey folks, it's time once again for Nate to ramble on about his week. Because, I figure you guys deserve some updates when I'm not making garage videos. I've said this before and I don't feel like you need to hear it again. But I know I promised you guys I was going to try to get in the garage this weekend, this past weekend, and I did, but unfortunately it wasn't for the Jeep. I did a project for my wife, which had to do with a yarn holder. Probably don't care about yarn holders, but that's what I did. That was pretty much it. Yeah, so Saturday I had a family thing to go to, nephew's birthday party, which was a good time. Kids had a blast. It rained on us. It's kind of rainy this week in Pennsylvania, where I am. Sunday I was going to try to get into the garage and start working on those Clayton arms. And, well, I just didn't. Some stuff came up around the house that needed my attention. We ended up moving our living room around, took the TV off the wall and moved it, hung it in a different place, which meant we had to rearrange the whole living room, which meant we churned up a whole lot of dust and things from underneath couches and whatever, and I got some, in my sinuses, and now I got a head cold, which is not fun, but whatever, I'll deal with it. So, yeah, that was my Sunday. Unfortunately, no real garage time. I did get to fabricate a bracket for my TV to hold the soundbar sort of on the TV instead of having to mount it on the wall, which I don't know, I'm not exceptionally proud of the bracket, but it does the job, which is pretty cool. I'm happy for that. So yeah, there was that, and that's cool. I got a little bit of fabrication work in over the weekend, which was really just a matter of, I found a piece of steel that looked like it would do it, and I cut it in half, and it already had holes in it, so I just mounted it on the TV. So I don't know if you'd call that fabrication, but, Alright, so, you guys don't really want to hear too much about my life in general. I've been treating the Quickcast as sort of a vlog, if you know the term, where people just start up a camera and talk about their life. I don't want to get too far into my life because I don't think you guys care. You care about Jeeps and garages and tools and grease and off-road, and yeah, that's what I really want to fill this channel with. So, in an effort to keep giving you guys content, I've been doing these Quickcasts. Yeah, so I'm going to try to keep it as on topic as possible, but I also want to do these weekly. So there could be times when I'm rambling about nothing, and I hope that doesn't happen too often, because I'd rather give you guys quality content than just filler content. So anyway, I've been in touch with the Garys at the Northwest Jeepcast, and I want to give them a quick shout out because they did the same for me on their show. I reached out to them for two reasons. Well, really one main reason, two, I guess. One is to thank them for their show. I've been enjoying their show. I found out about it through the Jeep Talk Show, which is also a good Jeep podcast. Gary, one of the Garys, there's two Garys that host the show if you haven't heard of the show. One of the Garys was on the Jeep Talk Show as a guest, and that's how I heard about the Northwest Jeepcast, so I gave it a try. And it's a fun show. Some people consider podcasts of the same genre competitors. In this case, the Northwest Jeepcast is sort of a different show than the Jeep Talk Show. The Jeep Talk Show is more of a generalized Jeep and off-road show, where they cover a broad subset of topics. They've got news, and they've got tech, and they've got beginner stuff and more advanced stuff. They've got radio segments, like radio tech, like ham radio and CB radio segments, where they talk about antennas and wavelengths and frequencies and whatevers. So it's a really good generalized show if you just want a show that talks about Jeeps and lots of different topics. It's a great show. But the Northwest Jeepcast is a different show in that it's a little more focused. They're wheeling them. What's their tagline? Wheeling them, fixing them, and bringing it to you, I think is what their tagline is. Anyway, that's exactly what you get out of their show. There's talk about wheeling, trips they've been on and whatnot, and they wheel a lot. I mean, they wheel more than I do, and I do it as a job on weekends. They're out, I mean, it feels like 2 weekends a month they're out on the trails. And they're also seem to be almost constantly working on or upgrading their rigs. And that makes a lot of content for their show. And while it's an audio show, audio only, and that sometimes isn't great for like garage instructional stuff, they give you a lot of tips and hints that you can use in the garage without video content, which is pretty cool. I mean, they do a good job of it. So yeah, they had played a little section of one of my Quickcasts on their show after I reached out to them, and I wanted to do the same, not necessarily the same. I guess I could cut in some of their audio. Maybe I'll do that. I'll find something to cut in. Maybe I'll cut in audio of them talking about my Quickcast. Wouldn't that be self-serving? Yeah. Anyway, they're a good show, and I think you guys should check them out if you're into podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm driving. When I'm not recording Quickcasts, I'm listening to podcasts. Be it tech related because I work in a tech industry, or be it off-road related, which I've been listening to a lot more of lately because, I don't know, technology gets boring sometimes. Anyway, so yeah, that's cool. You guys should check out the show. Maybe I'll put a clip in like here.
This is the Northwest Jeepcast, where we talk about Jeeps. You want to hear about your rig, from the beast to the least. We're talking about your Jeep, and we got the scoop on the trail systems of the Pacific Northwest and more. Now, are you ready to...
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Welcome to episode 117.
All right, man. And we heard from this guy, Nate. Another Nate, Gary.
Which are the Nates?
I'm losing track. Like, we have too many Nates emailing us now, and I'm not sure I can keep them apart, keep them separate from each other. There's
at least two Nates that I know of, that we converse with. So This is neither of them.
Neither of them. So a new Nate has come, and I think his subject was something along the lines of like, "Hey, it's another Nate," or as if you didn't have too many Nates already.
Okay,
something like that. Hey, Northwest Jeepcast, I heard about you guys from the Jeep Talk Show.
Ooh.
Yeah, we like those guys over there.
We do.
And I've been listening for a few months, enjoying the content. I also wheel them, break them, and fix them myself. So I really get a lot of good info from your show. Keep it up. I run a YouTube channel and a website, SWBCrawler, where I try to get videos and articles out there about building your Jeep yourself on a budget, since that's exactly where I am with my Jeep.
Who's not?
Yeah.
We're all on a budget of some kind.
Gary. Yeah, of some kind.
I'm broke like you can't believe right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, so he sent us a few links to some of his content, and his latest one, he does these things called Quickcast, where he just gets a camera going in his ride while he's commuting to something or other, and then record some content. So I thought I'd play a few minutes of that, and then we can comment on it. What do you think, Gary?
Sounds good. Let's take a listen.
Here we go.
Hey folks, it's Nate, and it's time for another Quickcast.
All right. Well, thanks for sending that in, Nate. He has a lot of videos, like not just of fixing, but also
I
wheeling
recognize
too.
Nate. I've heard him before. He's a very knowledgeable guy, Gary. Do you know he's I think he wants to do some collaboration with us too.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we're pitching a couple of options out there of things.
Yeah,
that we can do.
I think he's quite knowledgeable,
Yeah.
and he lives in Pennsylvania too, man. We're getting quite a lot of people in Pennsylvania, buddy.
How? Gary, are you like Facebook stalking this guy already or something to know that he's in Pennsylvania? Like, how did you discover this information?
Gary?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Are you creeping?
Oh, man.
Or back there where I talked about putting a clip in. I don't know. See, that's cool. I also started an email thread with Clayton Off-Road. I think I mentioned that on the last show, where I was trying to find out the best information for them, and that's been moving along. They needed some more information from me as to which arms of theirs I have inherited, and then they're going to get me the information about the Johnny joints, how to rebuild them, what kit I need to buy, all that. Another thing that Gary from the Northwest Jeepcast had talked to me about is how to rebuild them. I guess he's done a few of them. And he recommends buying this $100 tool that is made specifically for rebuilding Johnny joints. And that doesn't sound like a bad idea, but it's $100. And I don't know. What I would love to do, all things being equal, is buy the tool, use it for a joint, use the other method, which is to use a couple of sockets to compress the joint and get it taken apart. And I would, love to sort of record how to do that as well, and then show you guys both methods, because I think that would be valuable. You guys can see how to do it without buying the tool, and then what the tool does for you. I think it is worth it buying the tool, but is it worth it to rebuild 3 joints, which is what I've got? But there's the chance I'll be rebuilding more joints in the future if I'm running these arms for a long time, or if I keep with Clayton, which I may. It could be someday I upgrade to a Clayton long arm kit or something, and then I'll still have these joints to deal with. Or maybe some other kit that I purchased that uses Johnny joints. They're pretty common, right? So, it's worth considering. So yeah, I'll see if I can scrape the money together for the tool. I don't want to delay the video just to buy this tool to show it to you guys, though. But yeah, I'll see what I can do. So let's see. The other thing, really, what I want to do with the Quickcast is I'm going to start sharing stories with you guys. And this one comes from when I was first getting into off-roading, and when I had my first off-road vehicle. My first off-road vehicle was also my first vehicle when I was 19 years old. I'm dribbling coffee. Sorry, guys. When I was 19 years old, I bought a 1989 Chevy S10 Blazer. And it was 10 years old at the time, so you can tell how old I am based on that. Hang on, my window is fogging up from all the talking, so I'm sorry if you guys now hear my vents going. I can see again better. Okay. 1989 Chevy S10 Blazer, which was a great vehicle. It didn't have any major problems, except that the transmission was going, and I was able to get that fixed under a warranty that I purchased. But that's a whole other story. This was, like I said, my first off-road vehicle, and I was a young guy, 19 years old, with his first 4x4, and I had the opinion that I was unstoppable. I wouldn't admit it at the time, but I did. I felt like I could go anywhere, just because it was 4-wheel drive. And, that little Blazer did surprise me at times. I didn't do anything crazy with it because I was just getting into the sport. In fact, my first Jeep I didn't do anything crazy with, which is what followed the S10 Blazer. I had it for about a year, and then I sold it to pay my mom back, who had put up the money for the Blazer for me. And then when I sold it, I bought my first Jeep, but that could be a whole other story. So the S10 Blazer, I had no real modifications to it. I had put some gnarlier tires on it and a brush guard on the front. And the area that I live in, I wouldn't really call it urban per se. Like, the town I'm in is urban enough, but it's not a city by any stretch. It's just a small town, and we're surrounded by these housing developments that are just like houses and roads carved into the forest. They're nice places, don't get me wrong. And when I was in high school, I had a lot of friends who lived in those places. They lived in these developments, and most of them were kids who were, I don't want to say city kids, but their families originated in the city, right? I live in Pennsylvania, relatively close to the New York border. I'm maybe an hour from New York, maybe an hour and a half from New York City. So these guys, these families would move out of the city and into this nice wooded area in the Poconos. Anyway, they weren't. My video is going weird for some reason. I'm just having all kinds of video trouble today, folks. I'm sorry. First my phone filled up, so I'm recording this for the second time, and then, well, now I don't know, the video looked weird. Maybe you'll see that in the video or not, I'm not sure, but I digress. Here I am, you know, this country boy, essentially country boy. I'm not quite a country boy. I was raised by, I'm a very outdoorsy person. That's part of why I do off-road and whatnot. I was raised by a guy who's an outdoorsy person, but ironically we both work in technology. My dad worked in tech of his time, which was telephone. I work in tech of my time, which is IT. Anyway, I digress again. The point is, I am very familiar with with the wilderness, and these folks, these kids living in this wooded area. I was always looking to explore the woods and whatnot, and so were they, because there's nothing else to do, right? So me and one of these kids, who had actually lived in the area for quite a while, since long before I knew him, we're in my Blazer, and it's the middle of winter. And another one of our friends, his family had like a summer home in one of these areas. Of course, it's winter, so they're not there. But the development that he was in had this hill in the road that in the summer was, I don't want to say it was challenging, but it was more than just your average dirt road. And now it's pouring rain. I'm sorry, guys, if the audio is messed up because of it. It was more than just your average dirt road, and it was a little bit rutted, and there was some washout in it, and it was a dirt road, and it was steep, and had a turn at the top, and you know, it was fun for, you know, a kid who wasn't really an off-roader yet to try to do. Well, in the winter, we found out this night they don't plow it. So we had gone up past my buddy's house, and we crossed this little berm of snow, which should have been our first clue. And after we crossed the berm of snow, pretty much as soon as the rear tires cross the berm of snow, we start to slide. And I don't just mean like we can't stop slide, I mean like sideways slide. So of course I immediately decide this was a bad idea and try to start backing the Blazer up to get it out of this icy situation. Well, that wasn't happening. As soon as I put it in reverse and started to make the wheels turn, we just started to slide further sideways. Now, the road, it's like woods, slope, right, and then flattish road, which is where they put the actual road, and then there's like a little drop off, and then more woods, right? So imagine that they had laid down some sort of bedrock or bedding to make the road, and that's this berm on the side. Well, the Blazer is slowly sliding toward the berm on the side, right? Now my wipers are on hyperactive here. It's slowly sliding toward this berm on the side, and I am just panicked, thinking we're gonna slide off of this berm and into the trees. I'm trying everything I can to get to the other side of the road, and my buddy, I mean, luckily, this guy was with me. Luckily, I had chosen him and not one of my other friends. I had a couple of friends who were like really big guys, just tall and generally overweight guys, right? I don't know why. I'm a relatively small guy myself. But I had a bunch of friends who were really big, and this was one of them. He was probably the biggest of all of them. And he's with me. And he gets out, and he's just like pushing my Blazer across the ice because he's this big guy and he weighs enough that he's able to get himself enough traction. He's like standing on the edge of the road where the ice isn't so slippery and just pushing on the front fender to get the front end of the thing over, and then he pushes on the rear to get the rear end over, and then we're sort of like, instead of just backing straight up, we're trying to back into the woods on the other side of the road because it's just, at least it's snow there and not ice. So we get the rear tires onto there, and then I start to go forward again to sort of turn around to get out, and of course we start to slide again. And he's on the brush bar on the front of the thing, pushing on it to try to push the front of the Blazer back. And I mean, thankfully it worked. Between him pushing and me being real cautious, you know, where I'm steering and going slow and everything, and the four-wheel drive, we were able to get the thing turned around and back onto solid road. So yeah, folks, if you're in a four-wheel drive and you don't know this already, it does not help you on ice. In fact, it may have hindered us. I'm not even sure. The front tires having drive to them and spinning may have actually been what made the front tires break traction. I don't know. But point is, it was a scary night for a 19-year-old who was almost, I mean, I really think that if we had gone sideways off that berm, the Blazer would have ended up on its side. And that would have been really, really inconvenient and difficult to explain to my parents. So, yeah, that was a fun one. I'm going to try to come up with other stories from my off-roading past for you guys that might be entertaining or maybe teach a lesson, because I've got plenty of them, guys. We didn't have off-road trainers when I was learning how to do this. We just went out and made stupid mistakes and learned. So, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to call it a close for tonight. Remember, folks, like the video if you like it. I'm not going to demand that you like my video, but if you enjoyed this, please hit the little thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you know when I do these things. I've been considering for a while doing, like, nice turn signal, buddy. Just drive your enormous vehicle across my lane of traffic with no signal. Anyway, I've been considering doing live streaming, like in the garage or something, if I can work out how to do that in a way that I can also record. So that will be a thing that'll just sort of happen when I believe the road I want to turn onto is closed. That is unfortunate. I guess I'll have to go straight. Anyway, now I've lost my train of thought. Right, so there may be live things coming. There's live things coming. You'll want to hit that bell so you know when I go live, because they may happen without much warning, because my schedule isn't as predictable as I wish it were. Yes, the road is closed. Why is the road closed? That's inconvenient. Anyway. So yeah, live streaming could be a thing that happens. Otherwise, yeah, look me up on Patreon if you would like to help support my channel, help me buy that $100 tool that I was talking about. I'm starting to think about how I can do rewards on Patreon that you guys might actually be interested in. I'm not sure how I can turn a YouTube channel into something that would give you rewards. I know people like Bleep and Jeep do a thing where their patrons get early access to their videos. I don't know that you guys would care enough about that. To be honest, Bleep and Jeep has a lot more subscribers than I do. But anyway, that's an option. Yeah, hit up my Teespring shop. I'm also looking into Amazon's merch to see if they are a better deal than than Teespring. So I may be switching to them at some point. I don't know. I will let you know if that happens. So yeah, thanks for watching, folks. Like, subscribe. I think I covered it all. Yeah. See you guys in a week, or maybe sooner. Who knows? All right. Thanks for watching.